Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane just completed their matchup at UFC 270 in what was a rather surprising conclusion to the match. And the reason I say that isn't the fact that Francis Ngannou won, which in of itself is somewhat surprising, because it went 5 rounds and it went to the decision. Most people, including myself, believed if it went past the third round, Cyril Gane had the advantage because of his conditioning, his cardio, his ability to fight, and the way he fights. A power puncher is most dangerous in the first 2 rounds. And going to this, everyone would say Ngannou is a power puncher. He's a heavy hitter. This is what he do. This is what he does. Goes for knockouts. But Francis Ngannou showed us a different side of himself today. In the first 2 rounds, I scored it 10-9 in favor of Cyril Gane. I believe Cyril Gane managed the distance well. I believe he kept himself out of harm's way. He was consistently landing. He was point fighting. Okay, it wasn't any power punches. It wasn't anything that could do any significant damage, but it was wearing down Francis Ngannou, and you could see it. Cyril Gane was still bouncing around. He was moving very well. Francis Ngannou was more flat-footed. He was heavy. He wasn't really throwing with as much volume as Cyril Gane, which is to be expected. And then you go into the third round. You're watching the third round. It's playing out. I think Cyril Gane is gaining distance. Then Francis Ngannou catches a kick and power slams him down to the mat. And that is where the rest of this fight would take place. Third, fourth, and fifth round, Francis Ngannou dominated with his wrestling rather than his boxing. To me, that's a surprise. Granted, you see Kamaru Usman with him in his corner, so you know that he did learn and he did train with Kamaru Usman. And Kamaru Usman, he's a dominant wrestler. He smothers you. And Francis Ngannou, I feel like, took those lessons and really used them in this fight in a way that would benefit him and would end up helping him retain his title. This has shown Francis Ngannou has the ability to adapt and to change his game plan depending on his opponent and to be able to progress. He doesn't just rely on his power. He's becoming a better wrestler. I'm not going to say he's a good wrestler, okay, because there's definitely more dominant wrestlers. For example, Stipe Miocic. But he's learning. He's getting better. He's gotten a lot better defensively when it comes to his wrestling. Again, referencing Stipe. And he even had some BJJ. Yes, it wasn't the cleanest things, all right? But he got taken down himself. Cyril Gane was able to score a takedown, and Francis Ngannou was able to work out of it and actually end up taking control of that position, getting top control, and getting right back on top. To see the way Francis Ngannou has changed as a fighter over time, from his first loss to Stipe to now, you could consider it a completely different fighter. Progressed, he's developed, and this is just one of the reasons why. And I know Jon Jones is on Twitter saying, "Oh, guess I don't have to come back. We all know I would dominate. I would get all these records." And Jon Jones needs to stop, okay? Francis Ngannou proved that he is a force to be reckoned with. And listen, either Jon Jones, you're gonna sign the fight or you're not. But stop going on Twitter and messing around trying to keep yourself relevant when you won't sign the contract. And I understand that it's because of the money. You want more money. But there's a cap to how much money they're going to give you. Either sign the fight or don't. But don't bash Ngannou for developing and becoming a better fighter while you're just standing at home or sitting at home. I know you're training. But you're just sitting at home and you're not competing. You haven't fought in 2 years. So stop bashing the people who are actively fighting. The active heavyweight champion. I don't know what's going to happen for Ngannou from here because Ngannou wants to go into boxing. He has this contract dispute. I know there's the champions clause, so his contract actually gets extended no matter what because he retained. It's going to be interesting. We got to keep an eye out for that. What is the UFC going to do with Francis Ngannou? Is Jon Jones going to come back? And what's next for Cyril Gane? This is a big loss for Cyril Gane, but he has the ability to develop. It's only his first loss in the UFC. He needs to work on his wrestling. He needs to work on his jiu-jitsu. And then he can get back. We know he's a top-tier striker. We just need to get on par with the wrestling, okay? Like, just get a step above. Kind of like Ngannou after the Stipe fight. The first one. He was a great striker, but his wrestling was so far down, it held him back. If you get that wrestling, just defensively, right here, you can stay on the feet. you can win a lot of fights, and that's all Gon needs to do to improve from here. Congratulations to Francis Ngannou for retaining his belt.